Listen for the word of God, found in Matthew chapter 9, verse 35 through chapter 10, verse 1 and 5 through 8. Listen to how Jesus sent his disciples out to help others. Then Jesus went around all the cities and villages, teaching in their synagogues and proclaiming the good news of the kingdom, and curing every disease and every sickness. When he saw the crowds, he had compassion for them, because they were harassed and helpless, like sheep without a shepherd. Then he said to his disciples, "The harvest is plentiful, but laborers are few. Therefore, ask the Lord of the harvest to send out laborers into his harvest." Then Jesus summoned his 12 disciples and gave them authority over unclean spirits, to cast them out and to cure every disease and every sickness. These 12 Jesus sent out with the following instructions: Go nowhere among the Gentiles, and in no town of the Samaritans, but go rather to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. As you go, proclaim the good news. The kingdom of heaven has come near. Cure the sick, raise the dead, cleanse the lepers, cast out demons. You received without payment, give without payment. This is today's lesson.
As Andy noted in the opening, we're going to be looking this season at what it means to be Christian community, specifically here at Church of the Apostles, United Church of Christ. Because there's a lot of, Christian community is a really large term. But I asked you that question on Palm Sunday. We collected all of your answers, and you will see them. You saw them during the gathering, and you will see them at other parts during worship, to be on the screen over the pictures. And what I'm hoping is that you will read those and you will reflect on that and how true that is for us and how much energy you have for that. We're also going to have some small discussion groups while I'm away, and then when I come back in October, we're going to have some large group gatherings where we come together and we talk about what is it that is most important to us, because it's in those items, in those phrases, in those words that our vision and our mission is going to be much more clear. And we're going to clarify this mission to share Christ's love with all people. So today, and what we've taken all of your phrases and divided them up and grouped them as they go with the scriptures of the day. So today's scripture that you heard was Jesus commissioning the disciples, commissioning them and sending them out to make a difference in their world. They had quite a list, if you go back and read that again, that they're to heal the sick and cast out demons and do all kinds of amazing things that we would be like, wow, that's not us. Well, we don't have the power to do that. But Jesus does give us the power to make a difference. And we do that through our Outreach Commission and our Apostles Assistance Fund. But we need help in doing that. We need a vetting process, which we don't have. So we rely on other organizations in our community to help us use our funds appropriately with the people who are in need. One of the groups that does that really well here in Lancaster is the Transitional Living Center. And today we have the fortunate pleasure to have Doug Hopwood, who is the division manager of TLC, and we have a guest, Jules, who is going to come, and they're going to tell us about TLC. That's the short version of Transitional Living Center and tell us about what they're doing and about a need that they have right now. So I invite you guys to come up.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. Just raise your hand if I'm too loud. I usually don't need a mic, so I could be shouting too loud. But I just want to thank Church of the Apostles, Pastor Kathy, Steve, and Julie, who I've met with in this particular situation, to allow us to give you a little bit of information about TLC, and then talk about a specific need that Steve and I talked about a year ago, and will be incredibly relevant with about the 95-degree day we're about to have for, of course, why wouldn't Father's Day be real hot and sweaty? So a little bit about TLC. We are at 105 East King Street. We're an emergency homeless shelter. That's the way to put it the easiest. I've been there, I'm going on my 11th year there. And when I first started there, we didn't have any programming. Kind of like what Pastor Kathy was just talking about, trying to figure out where you're going and what you're doing and how that works. Well, our first program that started there 10 years ago was a veterans program. And we were approached by the VA because at that time, 22% of all those experiencing homelessness were veterans. And it was a call to figure that out and try to solve that. We're happy to say that that number's down to 12% right now. So we started with 10 of our rooms, and then the next year they came back and said, we'd like all 52 of your rooms because we want to solve this problem right now. Well, as you're going to hear in a second, we're very vital to this community in several other areas too. And if we would have done that, that would have been shutting other people that need our facility out. So we gave them 25% of our rooms. So 17 of the rooms that we currently have revolve around the veteran services. We have a waiting list in that program all the time. We have a 98% occupancy rate in that program. We work very closely with the Lebanon VA on getting a lot of those referrals, and things are going pretty well in that regard. At about the same time, there was a group starting in Lancaster called the Reentry Management Organization, or RMO. And that basically revolves around returning citizens from Lancaster County Prison. We're part of that consortium, and the big part that we provide to that group is case management. And again, we have 52 rooms, so people need rooms when they come out. They've made a mistake or two. We're willing to try to work with them in that program. And that program has been ongoing for the last 10 years as well. There's about 8 to 10 of our rooms that are used for that particular purpose. Unfortunately, as happens at this time of the year for about every community benefit organization, we hold our breath and hope that the people in Harrisburg, whether you're on one side or the other, I don't really care which side, that they could actually pass a budget on time, but it looks like that's not going to happen again. So we hold our breath because some of our funding comes through those very ways from the state and from the federal through the state. So unfortunately, our RMO program, our Returning Citizen program, is going to be suspended at the end of this month because of lack of funding. We will continue to work with the people that we already have. We have 10 people in our program right now. And we look to the community to help us out with things like that, and that's why I'm here today. Next Sunday, I'll go talk anywhere at any time just to educate folks on what's really going on in the world, in our little county as far as homelessness goes. So let's see, we've talked about the veterans, and then the program that has exploded the biggest in the last 5 years, that's our Family Emergency Shelter Program. 5 years ago, we had 3 rooms that were dedicated to this program. We have 19 families in our building right now. So in our building of 52, 3 or 4 years ago, I used to say we had 70 to 80 people and 18 to 23 kids. We have 105 people and 45 kids now. and somehow the building didn't get any bigger, but we have readjusted and done things. It's the largest growing segment of homelessness in the United States. Lancaster is not, not special in this regard, but it's a little sad when you're talking about children. And that's why we have so many of our rooms dedicated to that particular purpose. And then we have our last program is our extended stay program. And that's for folks that a lot of times is from our returning citizens or the veterans, and they're done with their program, but there's just something that they aren't ready to move out on their own into the community. It could be an addiction, it could be a mental health issue, it could be anything like that. So we have this program that's extended stay, and they participate in that program and stay a little bit longer. The average length of stay at TLC is 4 to 5 months, and actually pretty soon we won't be calling ourselves a transitional living center anymore because of those 3 programs that we just talked about and the 4th extended stay program. We also supervise homeless outreach for the entire county out of TLC. Our homeless outreach worker, Guy Boyer, goes to those people that don't come in anywhere for services. He's going to find them. And then we have a second veteran program, supportive services for veteran families. They served 65 families last year, and actually yesterday, a buddy of mine, we collect furniture on the weekends, and we moved a family in not too far from here and supplied them with furniture. So I could go on and talk about this. I love talking about this. I'm very passionate about trying to end homelessness in Lancaster County, and I do think it can be done. It's going to take a community, but we will continue our fight. We're here specifically today because, and again, I laud Steve for having a memory. We were talking one time, and we talked about rooms that we had to shut down at TLC in the summer because they didn't have air conditioning. And the reason we shut them down is because, number one, it was ridiculously hot, but number two, these are rooms without windows, so to get air conditioning into those rooms, it requires all this stuff, and the units are about $4,500 a piece. So we have these 2 rooms that we have to shut down. Obviously, one of them's on our 5th floor in our veterans floor. You could imagine how hot it is on the top floor in a small room with no window and that type of thing. So Steve and I talked, Julie and I talked, I met with Pastor Kathy, and we're going to start a little campaign to try to raise money to get those air conditioners so we can keep the rooms open, because we have people waiting to get in to those rooms all the time. In every one of our programs, we have a waiting list. We would love that not to be the case. Actually, the best thing that could ever happen is me to come back here someday and go, guess what, we're going out of business, because then our problems would be solved. So I figured there would be no better way to explain what the program means and what the value of one of those rooms means than to introduce somebody that was in one of those rooms. So at this time, I'd just like to turn it over to Jules, and I'll wrap it up in a few minutes. Jules?
Yep. Good morning, everybody. My name is Jules. I was one of the residents at TLC. I think I need to give you a little bit of input of what it was like before getting to TLC. A few years ago, I had a dependency to drugs. I was in a nightclub celebrating Christmas Eve with a family member, and I was in a girl's bathroom, and a few bouncers mistaken me for a man. Beat me up pretty bad, broke my arm in 13 places, and upon getting physical therapy for this arm here, I was prescribed some medication that I got dependent on without my permission. In the midst of doing this, I sued this company, and I was awarded $60,000. So by the time the money came, I was a full-fledged addict. And $60,000 sounds like a lot of money, but when you're an addict, it really isn't. So with that being said, eventually everything was gone because of my drug addiction, everything. The apartment, the cars, the jewelry, everything was gone within a matter of months. So I went from this apartment, this beautiful, lavish apartment, into sleeping in the park with no sheets, no covers, no nothing, under a tree. I did this for quite some time. No hope. And it's just amazing, like, because I didn't think of any homeless shelters, and my life was pretty much hopeless. This was my life. My life consisted of in and out, drug use, in and out. I knew that I wanted help. I just didn't know how to go about getting help. I knew that I wanted something to change. I just didn't know how to make this thing happen. One day I woke up, okay, I was sleeping on the ground, and it was a dog urinating at the tree right before me, and I said, God, this can't be it. This can't be it. This can't be my calling. If you would help me get through this, I promise you that to the best of my ability, that I will never defy you to the best of my ability. And a few weeks later, I went to a rehab, got myself cleaned up, left the rehab, went to a halfway house for a few months, left the halfway house, went to a recovery house, and after leaving the recovery house, I was homeless again. So, but I'm clean this time, so, you know, my thinking, my state of mind was a little more clear. So I ran into somebody that was a resident at TLC, and she and I were mutual friends, and she kind of gave me just a little bit of insight of what TLC done. So I was so desperate, I was just willing to try anything. So I just knew that I didn't want to be sent back out there, okay? I know I came kind of too far to be sent back out there. And upon me calling this individual, because she gave me Doug's number, and upon me calling this man, you know, my guards were still kind of up, because people really don't, you know, when it comes to homeless people, it's like you have this contagious disease and nobody really wants to be bothered with us too much. So upon me talking to this man for maybe 15, 20 minutes, and I remember these words exactly, and he says, let me see what I can do, but don't worry about it, I got you. And I don't know, something about those words just kind of like penetrated. Wow. And he gave me a place to live.
You're not alone. Congregation's here with you. You're not alone.
Okay. He gave me a place to live. He gave me hope. I felt like I can breathe again. And it wasn't just a room, I felt like life was breathed inside of me again. I can't say I got my life back, because I never had a life before that. I never had a life. And I remember he would call me to his office once a week, and sometimes he would just call me just because. And I would sit in his office, and he would tell me that I'm going to be okay, and if there's anything that I need, and of course my humility and my pride would always say no. And somehow he knew what I needed, and it was granted without me even asking. It was more to a room to me. I can't speak for no one else. It meant a lot to me when I walked in there and I didn't have to worry about what I was going to sleep. I'm 167 pounds now. When I got to TLC, I was 126, and I'm 6'2", so you can imagine how small I was. Upon being in TLC, I learned how to work and go to work every single day, and I've been doing it this far. I've been clean for 3 years. I've been doing it this far. Upon going to TLC, I got enrolled in college. I'm on my second year of college, and I'm going for my master's degree. I have a 3.7 grade point average. Upon going to TLC, I remember being a resident there, now I work there. Like, these people don't know the significance, and when you think of being homeless, like, people walk past us sometimes. People don't see us. And sometimes we get to the point where we're hopeless. And for someone to say, listen, don't worry about it, and truly mean it, that means a lot. That meant a lot to me. So if all I can do is repay what they did for me by passing a message to someone else, I think that's a job well done. When I sit behind that desk, because now I'm on the opposite side, you know, because I remember being in TLC, and I remember talking to the staff members, and it feels good to be on the opposite side. And people come to me, and they watch this transition, because a couple of them I was in there with, you know, and they've been in and out. And for them to say that I'm proud of you and you give me hope. Like, I give people hope, like this homeless addict, people hear me, you know, and if anybody would have told me a few years ago, just a mere few years ago, when I asked God, if you help me, I won't defy you, I'll try not to defy you, that my prayers would be answered, I would have never believed this. I would have never believed this. I thought that that was it. Listen, let me tell you something, and I am perfectly, God knows, on an early Sunday morning, if I never went to TLC, I think I would be dead. I think I would have been dead, because I was really close to dying. And I was kind of okay with it. That was kind of like an upgrade compared to how I was living. So I just want to just tell Doug, thank you so much, and I'm so grateful. And you say a room, it was more than a room to me. That was my life, the beginning of my life. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
So as I said, I'll wrap up very quickly here, but yeah, we talk about a physical room, but I think you heard that it's more than that. It's more than that for Jules, who was sleeping outside. It's more than that from somebody returning back from prison. It's more than that for the families that we allow to stay together in our program while they're working through all this. So we ask the community for these things. We have a specific need that has been talked about here through the Church of the Apostles, and we are appreciative of that. Also, we take donations of all different things, from diapers to furniture to everything else, but more importantly, we ask that you continue to pray for those that might be suffering at this particular time, that might need a place, that we might have the strength, oh, forgot about that, that we might have the strength at TLC through our staff to be able to help those folks. So I just like to, one of God's greatest blessings is his gift of special people, the ones who touch our lives with joy, fill our hearts with gratitude, and bring his love to life. So we thank you, the Church of the Apostles, for being those special people. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Doug and Jules. And, you know, back in Easter, starting in Easter, I started challenging us to be looking out, to be thinking about what are the needs within our community. Well, this is one. This is one of those needs in our community. So if you are able to make a contribution towards this effort, I'd ask you to make the check to Church of the Apostles, and then in the memo line, write TLC. You don't have to have it today. We'll collect for a little while. Outreach is making a donation out of our outreach funds, but we would like to boost that with additional giving. So I hope that we can continue to make a difference. And I'm thankful that we have organizations like TLC who also do the vetting, as well as all of the special ministries that you have there, in the ways that we do affect homelessness here in Lancaster County.